everybody, and welcome to the channel. It's Paulie, Esther here. And well, to say that Dead by Daylight is in a state right now would be an understatement. This is not the worst patch that I have ever seen, but yeah, it's pretty bad. There's a lot of bugs going through it. I guess it should be expected since they went to a new game engine. The last time that they updated the game engine, that brought in a lot of bugs that needed to be ironed out. And it seems like this game engine has brought on a bunch more, along with a few other things that are just very unexpected, to say the least. So they put out this status report. I was waiting to see if they're going to have any update on this today, but I don't see anything at their normal 11 o'clock tweet time. So we're just going to go ahead and go over what they gave us before they head out for the weekend last week here with this status report update. With the 9.1.0 release behind us, we wanted to communicate some updates along with the most frequently reported in-game issues. Details in the thread. Kill switch. We have temporarily disabled the game map while we work to fix an issue causing players' games to crash. The map will be re-enabled once the issue is fixed. I didn't run into that one myself. Known issues. Killers are unable to start chases. A tentative fix was deployed yesterday to address this mechanic. The team will continue monitoring bug reports to make sure all cases are addressed. I'm not sure if that is fixed all the way yet. I'm not sure exactly what causes this. Killers being unable to start chases. I'm not sure if it's related to the fog vial. I had a survivor take me to the corner of the swamp map where they have those long logs with the vault in the middle, and I couldn't start chase. So since the survivor wasn't in chase, they were allowed to jump over the vault in the middle of the log over and over again without it blocking off because they weren't in chase. So I realized quickly that that was going to be an infinite, and I had to leave that survivor. Also, bugs that I've heard regarding this are, since the pig can't initiate chase, they can merely follow around someone who has a reverse bear trap on their head with the timer ticking, because normally the timer would stop if you're in chase, but if you can't get in chase with the killer, then the timer isn't stopping and they can just like watch your head blow up. This is super problematic. That really is needs to be a priority fix about chase, because there's some maps where you're almost forced to bring Bamboozle as killer, because without windows closing off after a certain number of vaults, then those become infinites if they can just use them over and over again. So yeah, that's a big one. That's a big one there. Music does not play when in chase. Under investigation, this does not impact bloodlust or entity blockers triggered by chases. It's purely an audio bug. Okay, so unlike the thing above, not kicking in bloodlust or entity blockers, this is just purely an audio thing. Okay, not as important. Some players were receiving a party creation failed error when playing on Steam. A fix was deployed yesterday. Copyright music setting doesn't prevent the Walking Dead theme from playing. Fix planned for hotfix number 1. So I don't know if hotfix number 1 is coming out tomorrow. We knew that in the patch notes that they had said that the Walking Dead copyrighted music would play whether you had the copyright music off setting turned on or not. So hopefully that's going to be one of the easier fixes for this patch. Killers and survivors are slowed down when going up the right-hand side of staircases. Fix planned for hotfix 1. Yeah, getting stuck on stuff seems to be, I believe it's a product of the new engine. I remember that came in the last time they updated the engine, so I think that's just a product of the engine with the smoothness and bumpiness of textured items, people getting stuck to them as killer and survivor. Hope that one gets fixed. Let's see. Some of Michonne Grimes' sound effects are louder than intended. Fix planned for hotfix 2. Right now, she's like a pay-to-lose character. She is so loud when she's running. I thought there were other injured survivors near me because it was so loud. I didn't know what was going on here. The Desperate Measures perk does not show correct values. This is a visual bug only, and the perk works as intended. Yeah, Michonne is just so loud, and then there's like some other issues with her audio where one of the audio files is accidentally uploaded into the game, and it's like the voice director is commenting on a line that the voice actress delivered when she's on hook. It was crazy.
Oh, I love how that trailed off.
Oh boy. Let's see. Hook spawns on the Forgotten Ruins are misplaced. Yeah, I had 2 hooks in the dungeon when I played Killer the other day, and they were like side by side where the survivors could basically hold hands. It was nutty. I'm like, look at these 2 hooks right here. It was so crazy. Updates. We boosted the map weight for the Fallen Refuge for the next week to give players more opportunities to test out the new map. As always, this is not the full list of issues the team is currently working on, and we appreciate all the reports we've received. The team will keep evaluating and working on issues as they come in. Yeah, I'm glad that they're increasing the weight of this map, because there is an achievement tied to the map. So, you know, people need to be able to get to the map to attempt the achievement, because right now the way the map offerings work, and having been nerfed to only 20% effectiveness, and since there are 4 maps for the Withered Realm, that would mean you have, like, at best a 5% chance when playing an offering to get this Fallen Refuge map, and then you have to complete that generator on the special tile and escape. So it makes it a little more difficult now. I can't even imagine trying to do the 20 escapes on the RPD now without, you know, being able to send yourself there with some consistency using map offerings. I feel like that's going to be tough now. So I'm glad that they have increased the weight. I need to actually go into the game and get this achievement myself before the 1 week increased map spawning RNG goes away. Oof. Yeah, there's more than this. There's like exploitable perk bugs with Blood Rush and Streetwise I don't want to get into right now. I was kind of waiting for DBD to see if they were going to kill switch some of that stuff before today when I made this video, but I don't see anything. So I think right now they're kind of circling the wagons in meetings to see, you know, what they need to do and what they need to address. And don't get me wrong, like, I don't think they take this lightly at all, that the patch has come out so buggy. I don't think anybody's more disappointed than the dev team themselves. It's got to be hard for morale, I would imagine, especially like when you are trying to bring new people into the game, which presumably you're trying to bring new people in the game because you're assuming that The Walking Dead has brought people in. You actually have created these new to the fog quests for the new people, right? So you're hoping that your Walking Dead release is going to bring people in, and then the patches come out like a buggy mess, so that doesn't leave a good impression on the newcomers, right? So hopefully this is all going to get ironed out. This too shall pass, and I know nobody feels worse about it than the developers. That, you know, I'm confident that they're surprised even some of this stuff isn't working, right? So yeah, there's a few crazy things, like the poll in the loading screen, which if you don't know where that is, I think that our offerings are showing up on part of the screen where the highway signs are in the lobby, and so that girder you see on the left is actually part of one of the highway signs from the lobby. That's a surprising one. I don't think anybody is happy with the voice lines. So I had this poll. Let me show you this poll here. I had this poll that I asked. I wanted to just get the pulse of the community about, you know, as characters are coming in, they're getting voice lines in lobby and in game with Gabriel, Arella, etc. And would you want Dead by Daylight to go revisit the older characters and give them voice lines? And it was overwhelmingly, obviously this isn't a scientific poll, we had almost 5,000 people vote. It was overwhelmingly in favor of giving the older characters some voice lines, either in the lobby or in game. Even the people who were just kind of on the fence of it said, as long as I can turn it off, like I want an option to be able to turn it off so I don't have to listen to these repetitive voice lines all the time. The voice lines are really cool. Even the Walking Dead ones are great, especially if you get a couple of the Walking Dead characters together, reunited. How they interact with each other is just remarkable. I really love it. But one of the comments on this was, I think it would bother me when voice lines that were given to older characters don't match the grunts and screams of Dwight, for example. And I was thinking, oh, that wouldn't be a problem. But now, having heard how the grunts and screams for Rick and Daryl don't sound anything like Andrew Lincoln or Norman Reedus. That is super off-putting. So it's kind of the reverse of what people suggested here, is they would want them to get the original voice actors who did the screams and grunts for the Dead by Daylight characters to do the voice lines as well, so that there would be some consistency there. I kind of pushed that notion aside and didn't think it would matter. Now I can see how it could matter very much if the voice is jarringly different, because I don't think anybody is happy with the grunts and screams of Daryl and Rick, for example, which, you know, I understand if the actors don't want to blow out their voice box, because it is a taxing process for people to deliver all this screaming and stuff in the studio for these characters. And I understand if they were like, well, you get somebody else to do the grunting and the screaming and all that, and I'll just do your dialogue. But like, they didn't get somebody who was a good enough sound alike to do that part, right? Which just makes me applaud Nick Cage so much more, that he was like, I'm doing all of my stuff. I don't need a sound alike. I'm going to do it all. And it just makes me applaud his performance so much more, hearing that he did everything, when I see how bad it could have gone had they gotten a sound alike for Nick Cage, because the sound alikes for Rick and Daryl do not sound alike, and it is jarring. I don't know. I think they've said those aren't placeholder voices, and that's what we got. I don't know if they're ever going to revisit it and redo that. I mean, it's possible. There was once upon a time where they redid all of Kate Denson's audio with a different performance. Don't know if they would revisit it and get somebody who sounds more like Norman Reedus for the Daryl and Andrew Lincoln for Rick, or just pretend to sound like them on any level. But yeah, so people aren't real happy with that either. And the other thing that's kind of a friction point in the community is the race car clown, or NASCAR clown, if you will. So back in May, Dead by Daylight had tried this thing where they wanted to put a cap on how much haste or hinder could stack, so that it wouldn't become out of control. And the community pushed back and said, no one wants this cap on haste or hinder stacking, because you're taking the fun out of the game. We want to be able to stack perks and make fun builds and stuff. And so they were like, yeah, okay, we heard you. Moving forward, we're going to allow haste and hinder to stack again, from the valuable feedback from the community. And then we wound up with these insane cloud speeds. I showed this one that has 27% haste, but somebody was like, that's cute, but mine's 40% haste on clown, because they're just stacking everything that makes him quicker with his invigoration bottles, and he just goes brrr, you know, he's just zooming, and people aren't happy about it. They see the clown and they're just DCing now. So I don't know what's going to happen with this. Some people think that this was set up to fail, to show the community how bad it is when you have untethered haste and hindered stacking. They want to show you just how bad it can be, so that you go, maybe this haste and hindered cap wasn't such a bad idea, and allow them to revisit it and institute it. And I always thought that it was healthy for the game, because if you knew that you had a cap of a certain type on haste or hindered, you wouldn't have to look over your shoulder and wonder, well, what's the worst case scenario when people are going to stack things, when you design a perk or an add-on or something. If you know that the add-on or the perk is the max you can get, then it allows you to make those individual things stronger, because you don't have to worry about stacking them, right? That it can stand on its own as its strength, and anything you would stack with it wouldn't help it. So you can make that individual thing stronger without worrying about people layering things on. I always thought this was a healthy idea for the game. The community didn't agree. Dead by Daylight listened to the community, and now we have like 40% haste clowns. What's going to happen? I'm not sure, but something probably needs to happen So let's see. We'll see what happens here if they do end up going back to this cap on haste and hindered stacking. And then the conspiracy theorists can decide if that was the plan all along, to spoon feed us the caps by showing us how bad it could be. Or maybe, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I don't think it can remain the way that it is, but man, a lot of people had lots of things to say about it. That they said, well, this really only applies to the clown. But I don't know. I saw people saying that they were stacking haste with like the trapper speed add-ons too, and having fun with it. So probably not to this level, but this got a lot of traction. People had a lot of different varied opinions about this, and I play clown a lot, and I saw more DCs than I ever see when I was playing clown with this since the changes. So I was like, oh, okay, people are DCing when they're like first found against my clown. I'm like, okay. So yeah, this is what's going on in the community right now. Are we going to have a patch tomorrow? Presumably the first hotfix usually comes a week later, but there's still going to be some growing pains because like only a couple of these things are slated for hotfix 1, and it's going to take some time. So we're going to have to be patient and just go with these growing pains. I hope. I'm pretty sure that most of this was related to the engine update, which is why this was a larger download for this patch, because it went to an engine update. And the last time we had an engine update, it brought in a slew of problems. And I think this is much the same. And in the end, it'll be okay. But having said all that, man, the bugs are stacking up. Like on individual killers, it's getting out of hand. And I think Dead by Daylight really needs to take a long, hard look at what their plans are going forward and tackling these bugs, because when you have like half the killers have bugs, and then you have perks that have exploits, people getting stuck on stuff in maps, it just gets to a tipping point where people just aren't going to put up with it and aren't going to play. And they really need to take a long, hard look at, this is supposed to be the year of quality of life, right? This is supposed to be the year where we're supposed to be addressing bugs, and now the game is arguably in a worse state than it has been in years. And you're bringing in licenses that have a lot of excitement and new blood, and this is what they're met with. It just makes it feel like you're just going to lose all those people. They're all going to slip between your fingers if you don't take an aggressive approach and put a lot of work into tightening up the game. So straight talk. All right, that's all I have to show you today. Let me know what you think about the state of the game in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. That's all I have for you today. As always, thank you so very much for watching. I appreciate the time that you spend here with me on my channel. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, as it helps the channel a ton. And don't forget to take care of each other in and out of the fog. We'll see you next time. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.
It's a Gen Rush life for us. It's a Gen Rush life for us. Set a hiding, we do gens. Set a randoms, we got friends. It's a Gen Rush life.